Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 173rd episode of the Poorly Planned Podcast. My name is Benedict. You may know me better as BHL Hudson. Here we talk about movies, TV shows, DC News, a bunch of nonsense. More like that's the same thing, am I right? God, I'm so good.
God.
My name is...
God, we're funny.
Benedict. You may know me better as BHL Hudson.
My name is Benedict. Quote me.
I'm here, as always, with my friend, co-host, volleyball performer.
Ooh. Yes.
Jester,
halftime performer. Say. Just walks in and juggles.
Frederick, we're coming to you
yes.
well, not live, but we're coming to you very pre-recorded right after a series of volleyball games that you've attended.
A series of volleyball games. I just got back. I'm a little bit exhausted, but with that, I bring two brilliant stories.
Ooh.
Before we get into the pod.
You wouldn't dare.
And by brilliant, I mean genuinely very embarrassing, and I wanted to just put my head in the sand. So, the first one, okay, I will preface it by saying both of these aren't technically my fault.
Both of these aren't technically illegal, if you're, really thinking about it. It was really self-defense, and that dog had it coming, I'm just saying.
And that gorilla got loose. I don't know how. No, but so the first one. So basically, before each volleyball game you do kind of like a warm up where you've got your entire team on one side of the net, the other team's on the other side of the net, and you go up and do some hitting and stuff like that.
Yes.
And in that warm up against Edinburgh University, I go up to hit. And I just smash the ball directly onto the one guy with glasses, and I shatter his glasses in two.
That is brilliant. Mental warfare.
And he was probably one of their best players, and he had to sit for a bit. I was like,
let's go. Tactics.
And then we got destroyed by them still.
Well, there's that part of it.
There's that bit of it. But they're the best team in Scotland, but still.
So intentional.
So deliberate. I will say, everyone was like, ooh. And then as I walk back to my team, three of my teammates would just go, brr, just hit a dab.
As glasses shattered in his eyes and he's crying.
You can never see again. The other one, arguably way more spectacularly horrendous. In that, again, during the warm-up, we do this thing called peppering, where you basically just stand and you shoot at each other. No, but you just stand and kind of volley back and forth between two people, and you start hitting at each other. Just, again, bit of a warm-up. And I hit the ball to a guy, and I hit it quite hard, and it glanced off his arm, and then, with my pristine luck, it flies to the back of the wall, smashes, and turns on the fire alarm. And the entire building is evacuated.
Wow,
we ran to the people in charge of the sports center. And there's a pretty big sports center, right? We're like, oh, it's just a volleyball, nothing happened. No need to sound the alarm. And then they said, nah, we're gonna have to wait for the fire department to get here. So then we went outside, stood with a good 300 people until the fire department showed up. And my friend Greg and some of the volleyball guys that were standing there, the moment the fire guys showed up, they did a big point. It's it's him, officer. I just stood there, really wanted to just not be there.
This was all today.
All today, all within the span of a good 30 minutes, those two things happened. So yeah, I caused probably hundreds of dollars in taxpayer money to be wasted on those resources.
Wow, that's some impressive chicanery you were getting up to there. That's unreal.
Very true.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in your defense, what kind of fire alarm is so easily shouldn't have a little more protection?
Well, that's what I said as well. So I went over and looked at it, and it didn't even have a cover. It's you're in a sports hall. Why is there not a cover on the fire alarm?
Damn. I feel like these again were just tactics to the other team was just massacring you, and you're like, well, check this shit out. Just smack the fire alarm.
Just walk up and just press it.
Stare them directly in the eyes.
As I piss myself.
It's all a power play. Damn. Well, that is
They just forfeit.
That's an exciting volleyball session.
Yeah, it was an exciting time.
I'm impressed that you still managed to, as you told me pre-pod, win 3 of the 4 games despite all the chaos, or because of all the chaos.
All the chaos that was created. Yeah, so it was a good time.
Damn. Well,
but what better way to end it off on with a bit of potting?
Come on, and confessing your many crimes on the pod. I mean, just a very quick embarrassing story on my end. There are time codes down below if you want to skip around. Much less exciting, more pathetic, I would say.
So I shat myself this morning.
and that's it. It's a great story. Me and some of the film lads went to a film quiz at a bar. So, because we thought, well, we'll go in there. It's, a couple of film people, but it's a lot of just normies as they're known. We're like, we'll just smoke the room. It'll be
plebs as you call them.
Plebs, yeah. Novices, bitches. These are all things I said as I walked into the bar.
You looked and labeled every person
novice,
pleb, bitch, pussy,
virgin. Just walking through.
All while you're getting dapped up by your film bros.
And safe to say, we did not even make the top 3 out of maybe 10 teams. Which was extremely humiliating because we knew some of the other people there who were not film students, and then afterwards we went to like a club or something and we ran into them there again, and they just would not stop giving a shit for getting absolutely smoked by a bunch of people who are not studying film. It was a rough one. Yeah. And also,
what kind of questions are we talking?
Well,
here?
Can I just say, like, there was one category, Wes Anderson movies. We smoked it. We're so good, film students. There was another category. Well, that was the one we did the best on. Then the other categories were like romantic comedies. How am I supposed to know what Hugh Grant is called in Bridget Jones? Is that common film knowledge? There was one was like
Noah.
TV.
I don't know if that's right.
There was one about TV, which also didn't go great. There was a question that was like, who wrote the first season of White Lotus? And we did write Peter Griffin. So it wasn't like the best of showings from us. It was a rough time. So just an L on the. I went to a quiz. I think I talked about in the pod last semester with non-film students, and we won. So clearly, I'm not the common denominator here. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
All I'm saying is that the film lads are terrible.
Not to throw them on the bus. Bro, fucking one of them actually listened to the pod, and I told a story about how, like, he'd said when we were in a crowded street, this is just like Joker from the movie Joker, and he was like, I said that ironically, and you made me sound like some fucking loser. I was like, I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry. He's like, he's listening to this, I'm sorry, okay? I'm just trying to pod here, alright?
I'm just using our relationship for personal gain.
I'm just using intimate small moments in our day-to-day life to make money and make you look foolish. I'm sorry. It's not my fault.
Can you blame me, though? You're so foolish.
You do so many moments that are pod-worthy. Anyway.
Don't pretend like that was ironic.
It was like the movie Joker. I agree. We're going to jump right into today's episode now. Today we're going to do quick bit of mini reviews. I have 3 little baby boy reviews, and then we have some newsums. We have a couple of nothing piece of newsums that if we don't have time for, we can just skip and do some other time. But we have the big topic for the episode is James Gunn, James Pistol, announced the new slate of DC films and the new direction.
Stuff to talk about.
Lots to talk about there. And it, of course, happened right after we pre-recorded last week's episode, so it's been like, it's way out of date news, especially when this comes out a week from today. But
classic. Better
late than never. That's our motto. So
that is our motto.
First things first. A couple mini reviews here. I did go to the cinema and watch The Whale, Oscar-nominated film. The Whale.
You went and watched yourself in a mirror at the cinema, sir?
Wow. It's a movie about extreme obesity, so I think that's quite an offensive thing to say. Although that was the point you were making, so I don't...
Did I stutter? Although that is bang on the money of what you just said.
Brendan Fraser in The Whale. One of the most just sad movies I've ever seen. Just so incredibly sad. So hard to watch and like painful and depressing.
Does the Whale, the title, have a bigger meaning, or is it literally just a dig at him?
It is
the obese bastard.
It's really weird to make these jokes after I've seen the movie because it's so sad and like personal.
I haven't seen it, so I can get away with it. Brendan Fraser is Snorlax.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay. Anyway, sorry. This is one of those. This 10-second thing is gonna get clipped in 5 years, and then you're gonna lose your position as the head of Warner Brothers or whatever you're gonna be doing.
That's exactly what I'll be doing.
Anyway,
the head of Warner Brothers.
yeah, wouldn't that be great?
What a random ass position to be in.
It does refer to something other than just Brendan Fraser, although I think it is also in reference to that part.
Okay.
God, this is actually the most immature podcast trying to discuss this like deep, emotional, horrible drama of this man's struggles, and we're just like, The Whale. Fitting title, am I right? Anyway,
I see why they called it that.
But it was.
So what's it about? He's a teacher, I want to say.
Yeah, he's a teacher who's basically trying to reconnect with his family, his daughter specifically, who is just like the worst human being in the world. She's just like just absolutely horrible. The kid from Iron Man 3 is in it as a Christian missionary. And a random inclusion.
So weird.
And it's, I mean, and there's a lot more to it, and it kind of gets into like how he became so overweight and dives into, depression and relationships and whatnot, and it's just so sad. Like, there is like glimmers of hope throughout it, but it's also, I guess without spoiling it, part of the film is like, he's so optimistic, this guy, generally, and I think part of the movie is kind of like, he's almost like delusionally optimistic. Like, he tries to see the good in certain things where maybe there isn't any good. Excellent movie. Very, very good. Very emotional. Did make me tear up a little. First time in a while that's happened. But
it's Patriots Day.
Very, very much so. But yeah, no, just very good film. Very sad. And the ending, I guess I shouldn't spoil here, but I thought it was interesting, and I had a very different take on it than the people I saw it with. I guess maybe if you watch it, we can talk about it, but I interpreted it a different way than the people I'd seen.
I mean, if you want it, you can spoil.
Okay, spoilers for The Whale, you can skip ahead. Basically, he's like on the brink of death throughout the movie because he's, so overweight, and so there are like multiple moments where he thinks he's going to die, and he keeps asking people to like read him this essay, like it's his favorite essay or whatever, and it's like, I wonder why it's his favorite essay. And at the end of the movie, it's revealed that it's an essay his daughter wrote, and that's why it's his favorite, even though his daughter is literally like the worst person ever. Like, she hates him, she does horrible things, she's like the worst. And at the end of the movie, he's dying again, and he asks her to read it, and then like she's like says no, like, fuck you, you fat idiot, and then leaves. But then she like turns around and starts reading it, and then he starts walking towards her, which he hasn't been able to do throughout the movie because he's so obese, and then he like dies there. And it's a very happy kind of ending. I interpreted it that doesn't actually happen, because it's very, like, the whole movie is quite realistic, and then that ending is kind of quite over the top, and like he starts like walking towards her almost, and she starts like, reading it to him like as if she loves him. And the way I interpreted it was he actually and it's more depressing, which I think fits the movie. He actually died as she was saying like, fuck you, you fat idiot, and leaving. And that's his like mind, the last thing his brain kind of processes.
Like last thing he's hoping.
Yeah, and the people I saw it with were like, oh, I thought that was a sweet ending. Like, his daughter finally turns around. I feel like it's not the kind of movie it is, though. It's a very sad movie, and I feel like it would end with like his daughter just is the worst, and he just like imagines that she isn't.
God.
But yeah,
and she is supposed to be just a terrible person.
Yeah, like people throughout the movie. That's what I mean, like delusionally optimistic, where he kind of like tries to see the good in her, and maybe there is some, but then she's also just like despicably evil, and like it is because of like he left their family and there's a lot of trauma or whatever. It's a very interesting in-depth movie, but yeah, I think she is also just like irredeemably terrible.
just the worst.
Yeah, I imagine if you saw it, your like Letterboxd review would be something like, I wish that girl had fallen down the stairs or something like that. But yeah,
well, I wish that even now, and I haven't even seen the movie.
But yeah, The Whale, good movie.
Very cool. I hear great things. I've only seen the one thing where it's like, I've done one thing right.
That was good. That was good.
that was saucy, as the kids say. All right, well, I'll hit you with one that I went to see yesterday. I don't know if you've seen the story or the Letterboxd review, but I did go to see Knock at the Cabin.
Yes, I did see when Eddie Brock comes to the cabin. You let the devil in. There was something there. I couldn't find it, but like, you get what I was going for. Yeah.
No, I get
you can put it together in your head, the listener. You can figure out the joke there somewhere.
The joke is that you have to solve this thing.
You are the joke. Film friend who said the Joker thing. But yes, I did see your letterbox and your story. Unfulfilling. Quite an interesting review. What'd you think?
Well, are you going to be watching this movie?
No, go for it. I know there's a big twist probably because it's M. Night. Hit me with it.
Okay, let me explain. So, full on spoilers up for this movie.
All right.
The twist is, there's no twist. And that's what's so unfulfilling. There's no twist whatsoever. I will say.
But is that the best twist?
Well,
no.
You think so sometimes, maybe. But you're wrong. But so, basically, as a trailer kind of shows, it's this, it's a gay married couple and their adopted daughter who are like, I don't think they live there. I think they're vacationing in some cabin in the woods, right? And then Batista shows up with these...
With Grint.
That's the movie title.
Batista shows up. So ominous.
Batista is wearing a very weird shirt in this movie. It's probably a normal shirt, but it just looks so weird on his like balloon body.
His balloon body with his raisin head.
And like, because he's like... collared it all the way up, or like, yeah, you know, put the buttons all the way up, so it's like very tight around the neck, and he just looks like a weird accountant who's lost. Anyways, besides the point completely. But he shows up with some of his friends, and they start talking about this thing. It's like, you guys have to make the choice of killing one of each other. So, yeah, someone, or let the rest of humanity die to like a bunch of like apocalypses and plagues and famines and stuff like that, right? And they obviously like don't believe them at first, and then one by one they start killing off each other in the of Batista's group. And Rupert Grint's the first one to go.
No, so, not his big screen return.
I was gonna say, was this his big screen like return?
I think it might have been.
Because it's just the most underwhelming nothing performance from him. He was there for like 5 minutes and then got instantly like macheted to the face.
I mean, in fairness, it's kind of a representative of Grint's Hollywood career. You think he's going to have a big thing? Machete to the face.
It's also very accurate in that the moment he died, which I think would happen in real life, a 8.5 magnitude earthquake unleashed and created a tsunami.
Damn. Okay.
But yeah, so like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, they're like supposed to be the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, right? Imagine that, Batista, a horseman of the apocalypse. Even worse, Grint, an apocalypse horseman.
Batista would probably squish the horse.
Yeah. And Grint would be the horse, so like... But yeah, so then like one by one they kind of like go through and they kill the like each of the group members with the end of Batista just kind of like slitting his own throat. He's like, all of humanity's been judged, and then you like see like planes fall out the sky, like lightning rain happens, you know, like a bunch of bad stuff, like thousands of people have already been killed by like the other plagues. And then because there is this kind of like feeling throughout the movie, it's like, are they telling the truth? Is it just kind of, you know, whatever? But then like towards the halfway mark, you can see that what they're saying is true and stuff is happening. Like, and they are creating these plagues and apocalypses and stuff like that. And then towards the end, they just end up doing exactly what they want, and they kill one of the guys kills the other guy and saves everyone, and that's it. And I was just sitting there like, what? Because it kind of leads up to this. There's a feeling that there should be some grander kind of purpose or twist or something behind it, but that's literally it. So like the very first thing that's being said in the movie turns out to be what it is.
Huh. Yeah, that does sound kind of unfulfilling.
Because literally, like, if it had like a good twist or something towards the end, it would have been a great movie. But because it had such a wet fart of an ending, I was like, okay.
Especially with it being M. Night, and you expect like,
I think his reputation kind of precedes him, because I was in there, it's M. Night. Come on, something's gonna happen, and it didn't.
Do you think it would have been a more effective movie if maybe a little bit like I don't know if you've seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, but a little bit like where someone tells you that there's an apocalypse or whatever, and throughout the movie you don't know if they're telling the truth, and then the twist at the end is the reveal of if it's... So maybe...
Exactly. I think that would have been a lot better.
Like, at the end, they don't sacrifice someone, and then they, like, go outside and they see that the apocalypse actually starts happening, and that's, like, the end of the movie kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I think, something like that would have been so much better. But, like, again, I haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, but in the beginning, it feels very much like 10 Cloverfield Lane, that's what it is, right? But the one thing that, and it works kind of cool in the beginning of the movie, but it also is what takes away the kind of surprise / twist, is that they just turn the TV on whenever they say that, or whenever they kill one of their group members, and then you see another, like, plague or earthquake or apocalypse kind of thing happening, right? So, like, immediately kind of takes away the mystery of it, because, like, yeah, it is happening. Yeah, that they could have even done, like, maybe a twist of a little bit Ethan Hunt style, where they, like, faked a TV scenario, faked the whole thing, and there's like, yeah, you just killed your husband.
Yeah, and Grint didn't even die at the start. Except Grint actually is dead. They're like, oh, we actually did machete him. Fuck, that wasn't part of the plan.
Okay, and then I don't know if this was if there was, like, some bigger point to this that I missed, but it's also revealed because, like, the couple, they've never really met any of these people before, apart from Grint, who, like, was in a bar fight with one of them, like, years ago, and that's just never really expanded upon, I don't think. I don't know. I might just be sitting there being bitter at the movie, not really understanding what was happening, but for me, I felt unfulfilled.
Bit of a wet fart of an M. Night.
Bit of a wet fart of a movie.
Yeah, I feel like M. Night has had quite a few wet farts lately, if we're being honest. Well,
we're talking Glass here.
Yeah, we're talking The Beach That Makes You Old. I didn't see it. Speaking of an unsettling movie with twists, but one that actually did it well. I did watch Midsommar finally. I've been wanting to watch it for a long time.
I saw.
Have you seen Midsommar?
I have not, but I really want to.
Very, very good. And as I always say, person who doesn't really like horror, a film that I very much enjoyed, my kind of horror, real creepy and gross, and it's that thing we always talk about, like the atmosphere building slowly, something's kind of off. And I did actually enjoy one of your Letterboxd reviews. Kind of applies to this one because you watched some movie about, like, a horror forest thing in Sweden. This movie also takes place in Sweden. I feel like I could have written typical weekend in Sweden, #shit country. But it was extremely unsettling and just, like, fucking, like, it takes a little while to get going, but in a good way, where, like, it's really building the atmosphere. The characters feel, like, really realistic, and it perfectly, like, the first little bit of it is just these getting to know these characters, and it really captures, like, the awkwardness of, like, a relationship that's kind of dying, a friend group that doesn't really like the girlfriend. Like, it really captures that, like, human awkwardness, which makes it so much more effective because you feel like they're real people. And then something else they capture really well, because they go to this Swedish, festival, and, you can imagine things go wrong. But
ends up being a weird ritual kind of thing.
Yeah, but they capture, like, the Scandinavian, like, atmosphere really well, because, like, we've been to, like, Danish kind of, like, a Viking camp or something, and, like, I'm sure a bunch of tourists have as well, and it's exactly that kind of thing where it's like these sweet Scandinavians and their funny little wooden benches and their little dishes, and they're like, oh, hello, we're gonna just do this little thing, it's gonna be very fun, and it's like, it just felt very, as someone who's been to, like, a few of these kind of things,
I felt at home.
Yeah, it's like, which again makes it so much more effective when then they start doing all the crazy shit. And it's like, there isn't even that much crazy shit, but it's like the tension building.
It's just like unsettling atmosphere, and then all of a sudden this kind of snaps.
When they do show the crazy shit, it's so fucked up. It's like, yeah, it's real. Like, not to the point where I was, like, disgusted and I wanted to stop watching, but just, like, it's like, fucking God, really. And it's really great. Like, character-wise, it's really interesting psychologically about, like, grief and all that. And just an excellent movie. Captain Eyebrows is in it.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, no spoilers what happens to him, but I'm going to say possibly doesn't meet the greatest of ends. And there's also one scene, I'm not gonna lie, some of the stuff was so fucked up that I just kind of had to laugh because like it's like impossible not to. And there's one scene, I guess I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's one scene that did make me laugh because it was just so absurd that it was like,
is this like a main plot point, one of the scene?
Kind of. There's basically a scene where
Just say it.
there's like, because they're all, it's a weird, spoilers kind of, I won't go too in depth, but there's like, it's a weird, ritual cult kind of thing, and they're all kind of doing drugs, and they're all kind of like fucked up, and they're like, what's happening? And then at one point, like, one of the characters, the boyfriend, is like coerced into this like weird sex ritual where like there's like a ton of like naked women from the village around him just like moaning and like while he's fucking someone on a bed of flowers. And then the girlfriend walks in, and I just laughed at like that relatable moment when your girlfriend catches you having like a ritual orgy sacrifice in the square house or whatever. And I'm like, it's just, I don't know, it's a fucked up movie. It's really, really good. I would highly recommend it. Yeah.
Nice, because some of my friends here who are a lot more into the kind of, traditional jump scare, horror, The Nun, The Conjuring kind of thing, they didn't like it as much. And maybe that's just because they're stupid.
Yeah,
but,
I think they're not intellectual enough for it. But
I do really want to watch it.
I think I genuinely think you would like it. It's because it's a lot.
I do love sex and people moaning.
Yeah. So you're gonna fucking die for this movie, man. It's great.
This sounds like my kind of time. Yeah.
But yeah, very good. So highly recommend on that one. I can also, by the way, I can real quick just do my last one because it's not important.
Okay.
I watched the KSI documentary, KSI in Real Life. Not proud of it, but I did it.
Why are we not making this the main focal point of
thumbnail, title, everything?
KSI documentary is insane.
It was not insane. It was pretty good, I guess, but it was sort of same stuff you've seen before. It gives a little bit more of a look at his, like, he opens up a bit emotionally, and that's kind of interesting, but...
What does he open up emotionally about?
Well, like his girlfriend and his family, and, obviously his family situation is kind of fucked, and so that's kind of a harsh way of putting it after he bears his soul about it. It's kind of fucked, but... I don't know, like...
So they're crying in a studio, really, like, getting his emotions out there.
It was good, and, like, I think...
That's some messed up shit.
And I think he was being genuine. And I think, look, most influencers and celebrities are probably scumbags beneath it all. I think he's probably one of the better ones. Guy. He seems like he's not going to be perfect, but he's probably one of the more genuine guys. There were a couple of moments where I was kind of like, I don't know, like one of the big finale moments is he finally has a conversation with G-Day, his father, and it's sort of like a, big emotional climax. And it's nice.
Why does he have a conversation with G-Day? Why do they not often have conversations?
Yeah, well, that's a big thread, is like he has a like weird relationship with his dad where they didn't really talk much growing up and whatever. And it's nice, but it's also weird because it's like they're having this like intimate moment, but there's like a whole camera crew there. You know what I mean? It's like none of it doesn't, that part doesn't also, really feel authentic in a way. I don't know.
Again, now I'm not saying he's not a man, and again, this is not me at all saying he hasn't gone through a bunch of stuff with his family, but like some of his earlier videos that went back with the old KSI kind of thing, he seemed to be having like a very good relationship with his dad and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering, like,
they do touch on that.
If you're making a documentary about your life, are certain things, do you think, are they slightly exaggerated or do you think?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that stuff, they do kind of touch on that, and they're like, we made these videos and had fun, but like when the camera turned off, we didn't really like talk much or whatever. And I think some of it is like, I don't know, it's hard whenever it's about influencers, and it's, because I want to believe that like this is authentic, but also I can never really shake that like Logan Paul type of feeling where it's like you're just a complete, like I don't think I've ever seen a genuine moment from Logan Paul, you know what I mean? Where like, yeah, and so there's this whole thing where he's like, I'm not going to sing this song because he's like, it's the song about his girlfriend. He broke up with his girlfriend. And it's in theory, that's an interesting kind of thing. But I'm like, did they do this just for the camera? Because it feels a little performative.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't get me wrong. The man has, he's achieved a lot of great things. But I feel like the documentary should be, again, maybe it is, a lot more focused on the things he's achieved rather than like his background. Because, again, there's often celebrities who'll, not saying he did this, but where they'll, you know, paint themselves in a light where it seems they've had it a lot rougher than they actually have.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I think he did it pretty well. He wasn't like trying to be like, woe is me. And I feel like it was genuine. I think it was a solid documentary. I think it's always just going to run into this problem with influencers, though, where you're like, how much of this is real and how much of this is, you know, because they're so good at, you know, playing up to the camera and whatnot. But in general, of all the ways it could have gone, it was pretty good.
It was enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, well, going slightly back to the old Swedish horror story.
Sorry, I totally fucked that transition. Yeah. My bad. That was set up perfectly, man.
You even touched on it yourself as well. You said it perfectly in your letterbox review. I did watch The Ritual, which is one of the better horror movies I've seen, I want to say.
Okay.
It's basically about this group of guys. There's a few things that don't really make sense. I'll touch on. Are you gonna watch this? Can I go full spoiler?
You can go spoilers. I did actually, as I do, read a little bit of the Wikipedia because it's a horror film and I find that interesting. So I know a little bit. So you may spoil.
You know of the Jotun then?
I do.
So it's about a group of friends where 6 months earlier one of them got killed in a convenience store robbery, burglary kind of thing, right? And then his like dream trip, because they were planning trips together, was to go to Sweden and hike through the forest. So then, in memory of him, they kind of do that. They put his picture and some of his things at the top of a Swedish mountain. You know,
terrible dream, by the way. Let's just put it out there.
Let's be honest. If your dream is to go hike in Sweden, you might as well not have any dreams.
At least make it in Hilo. I don't know.
Come on, let's go to Randers, for God's sake.
These are places in Denmark, for those who don't know. We hate the Swedes, we're Danish.
Yeah, I mean, Norway, I get it. Beautiful country. Sweden.
There you go.
God.
Ass.
But yeah, so they're out hiking, and then one of them, like, he hurts his knee, and then they decide to take a shortcut to their, like, next stop through a forest, you know. Classic. But the way, like, the whole movie is kind of built up is in a very, very, like, genuine, and, like, there's good chemistry between the guys, and it's well acted, I think. So, like, you're kind of sitting there, even though, you know, like, oh, yeah, they're going through a forest, whatever. Of course, it's not going to go well. It's going to end up badly. They're going to die, whatever. But, like, the way it's all put together is a lot more believable, and you're not sitting there like, no, guys, why would you do that? Because the way they say it is and do it is a lot more realistic, I think. But so they go in to the forest. Then it's like pouring rain and it's dark. They find this like abandoned cabin. They go in and then freaky shit starts happening. Like they hear howls outside, and then one of them wakes up completely naked, praying to this weird statue in the cellar.
Classic.
And then they're like freaked out. Classic Swedish moment. And the main guy, he wakes up with like a claw mark on his chest and stuff like that. Oh, and in the forest, they also found, like, a deer that's just kind of, like, hung in the trees with its, like, intestines flowing out. They're like, oh, what did that? Could that be a bear? It's like, boys, it's like 5 meters in the air. How would that be a bear?
That's the cocaine bear?
The funny thing is, for that movie, the trailer just before the movie started was cocaine.
Let's go.
I'm so excited for that movie.
Pretty hyped.
And by so excited, I mean I'll watch it and it'll probably be terrible, but I'm excited. But then like the thing kind of like they keep having these visions and dreams. The guy who is naked keeps praying whenever they fall asleep and is like, oh. And then all of a sudden, like, they start getting picked off one by one by this massive fucking beast, like where they hang them in the aka BHL Hudson.
This fucking huge hunk comes through the forest.
This guy whose abs have abs. I don't know. And like they kind of get hung up in the trees and killed the same way the deer was. And then there's only 2 of them left, and they gotta like make it into a clearing, and then they get captured by these. I was gonna say village idiots. They're not, but they're like these like villagers who kind of pray to this monster that's been hunting them and stuff like that. And then the whole ritual is that they're going to sacrifice one of them, the other one's going to join the village and become a worshipper, right? And to that, the main guy basically just says, fuck that. Watches his friend get killed, and then you kind of get the monster revealed, and it's a big thing called a Jotun, which is like, it's got like 4 legs and then like tiny human arms. I don't know, it's weird. And it then just kind of leads into, like, he gets a weapon. There's one moment that made me laugh very hard, and I probably shouldn't have laughed, but there's like a really old woman who's in this village, and he gets free of his restraints, and then she kind of like blocks the door for him, like for him when he's trying to escape, and you think he might like push her out of the way or like threaten her or something, but he just walks up and sucker punches her in the face and kills her. Like, no hesitation, just like
drops her ass.
You just completely decks her. And then he escapes, and it gets a little bit too, like, I don't know, a little bit too supernatural and like into the weird stuff towards the end, I think. But as a movie overall, I think the movie really kind of captured a good, like, realistic chemistry between a friend group where, like, one, and like a main part of the movie is also that the main character, he feels guilt because he was in the convenience store when their friend was killed, like, so 6 months ago, and he didn't do anything about it. So that kind of like guilt haunts him, and then he ends up, becoming the leader, even though he was a coward back then. And it was a pretty, like, fun dynamic and like good character growth for him. And it's also, they make all the like right decisions that you would in like in a situation like this, but they're just like up against something that they can't outrun or fight. But it's like, they're not making any stupid decisions like, oh, I'm just gonna go do this thing completely alone and then get killed, right? Like, they see something, they're like, oh, fuck that, we're getting out of here.
Yeah. Do a bit of a Chris from Get Out.
Do a Chris from Get Out. But overall, pretty good movie. I enjoyed.
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard of it, but it sounds quite good, and it sounds a little bit like, coincidence, we both watched some good Swedish nature horror movies, but it sounds kind of similar where, yeah, if you build up this actual rapport and make the characters feel real and make their relationships feel real, it makes everything else in the film, whether it's like a comedy or a horror or whatever, it makes it all hit, stronger. Yeah. And sounds like a pretty decent time.
It was a pretty decent time, I will say.
But fuck Sweden. We're gonna move on to
terrible place.
the news, and we're gonna dive right into the big boy. The big old boy.
Ooh, we're talking big boy?
We're talking big boy. We're talking James Gunn releasing a video of him shooting Henry Cavill. We have James Gunn, which, by the way, I actually really appreciate. It's very uncommon for big studios, and especially DC, which has been such a fucking mess for so long. James Gunn trying to be as clear as possible with all this. Like, he put out a very succinct video of himself saying exactly what's happening.
Okay. I respect it.
So let me just should I run through the whole thing and then we touch on individual stuff, or should I go through each little thing and then we talk about it?
Ooh, you know what? You do you. Whatever you want to do.
Thank you, baby. We're gonna run through the whole thing and then we're gonna touch on little individual things. So I'll give you the whole picture here.
Wrong choice.
So first of all, Shazam's coming out in a few months. We can't stop it. James Gunn was like, I tried my best to pull this garbage movie from the market. We can't do it.
This looks like a little baby piss boy movie, but I can't stop it. I'm sorry.
But actually, I haven't seen any of the comments in the last pod, so we'll get to those in a little bit. I'm curious to see what people had to say. I feel like we might be getting some heat. But anyway, that's coming out. But it's kind of, it's always been a little bit separate from the DC world anyway, so, it's not that big of a deal. Then The Flash, which James Gunn says is an amazing movie. I'll believe it when I see it, but that is apparently, and it's kind of funny that they basically just spoiled The Flash to like announce all this, but it's apparently going to be the reset point, which they've done a lot of times before. The Flash, he travels to a new universe in different time, whatever. It's going to reset the universe. So some characters are going to stay the same, some are going to change.
So you're telling me that the one guy in all of this who gets to keep his job is Ezra Miller.
The man with the keys to the castle is, in fact,
the one guy who arguably should definitely not be on the big screen.
Yeah, no, they said, I saw some headline from someone who was like, he's in a place right now, he's trying, we'll discuss with him when he's ready to whatever. And I'm like, all right.
Why does he get such, again, I don't want him to like
getting
have a failed career.
Yeah, no,
why are they giving him so much leeway here?
They should follow the justice system if he's proved innocent or whatever, but I feel like, just a gut feeling, maybe not the right guy to pin a universe on.
to lead this whole thing. I would not say Ezra Miller and Shining Knight are in the same kind of sentence.
But then we leads into this new DCU where, and it's going to be much like they had the Marvel phases. We're going to have chapters. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters, aka the Poorly Planned Podcast.
The first DCU chapter is called The Poorly Planned Podcast and the Tom Cnews.
Imagine that you're watching James Gunn's announcement video, just Fidalgard's face pops up on the screen.
Have you seen this convict?
He and Ezra are conspiring. Probably shouldn't make jokes out of that.
This man is the reverse Flash.
In that he's purely good and doesn't commit any crimes.
In that he's not hit any women with chairs in Hawaii.
But then, so first of all, I mean, okay, bit of a stinky one to open with here. There's going to be an animated series called Creature Commanders, or Commandos.
What? What's happening?
That's everyone's reaction. Just sitting there open mouthed.
Oh, goodness.
But the interesting thing that I found from this is that he mentioned that much like the Marvel Universe has their TV shows that tie into the movies now, they're going to have like animated shows and TV shows, but the animated ones are also going to cross over into the larger universe, and they'll have the same like voice actors who voiced them in the animated show come into the live action films. Same actors do it live action, which I think is kind of an interesting idea.
Okay.
Kind of hasn't.
But so then even for an animated movie, they kind of have to cast according
Someone
to
who
what
looks,
they look like.
Yeah. To be fair, they've kind of done this with Marvel with the What If shows, like a little bit, but they did that the other way around. But anyway, then we're going to move into, again, it picks up a little bit. We're going to move into the Waller live action show, Amanda Waller.
What? The Waller live action show.
Which
is that the official title? Amanda Waller live action.
Which is, to be fair, she will be teaming up with characters from Peacemaker. So it's like a Peacemaker spinoff. Okay. To be fair, I'd rather just watch Peacemaker, personally.
Yeah.
But
Amanda Waller, I don't want her. I mean, she could have it, but I don't think I'm very.
She's not really a main character.
Very invested.
She's
she's
like
not a main character. She's kind of like
in the background.
Big bad boss.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
But you know, James Gunn, Peacemaker. It's not mentioned here, but I assume Peacemaker season 2 is also on the roster. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he didn't mention here that's been rumored, and it's not clear who's returning and who's not. Well, it's clear who's not returning. Henry Cavill, because then we have Superman Legacy coming July 11th, 2025. Written and I believe directed by James Gunn, which is pretty crazy. James Gunn making a Superman movie. That's pretty big news.
Pretty big news from James Pistol there.
And it will be, you know, from what we've heard, kind of focusing on a younger Clark Kent, a 25-year-old, maybe a Timothy Chalamet, perhaps. Let's not do that.
I hope to God
they're not going to do that.
Timothy Chalamet does not.
They're
become
probably going to get some guy from Euphoria, and that'll be that. Or someone from the Stranger Things.
They get
Bobby
Dustin
Brown
from Stranger Things.
Ooh, that also works well. I was thinking David Harbour as the new Superman, as the 25-year-old
Superman.
But you know, he's gonna be the new Superman. They're gonna, I assume, do like the Daily Planet, and he's gonna have Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane and all that. Then, and this I'm actually quite excited for. We're getting Lanterns, a live-action Green Lantern show with the characters Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and he described it as like True Detective, but in space, with like space cops, basically. Sounds kind of like a vibe, I'm not gonna lie.
That sounds kind of nutty.
Because they do...
It kind of True Detective meets Mandalorian kind of thing.
And they have HBO... They have the budget to make some, you know, we've got The Last of Us, we've got Peacemaker, they could do something here.
They could sauce it up, as they say.
They could get goated with the sauce. I'm so sorry. And
they could get goated.
Fuck, I'm 21 years old, man.
You are 21 years old.
But also, I'm extremely excited because I've wanted to see a live-action Jon Stewart for a long time, the one from the Justice League show.
From Justice League, the animated series.
So very excited on that. Also, I like how I said I was going to run through all of them, and we have done the exact opposite. We're doing them one by one. Yeah. But now that we're on that, if we're thinking casting choices here, I've always felt like
Idris Elba
would That's better than anything I could come up with. It's a really good
way
show.
better than what
And I was gonna say, you know what? I know you maybe don't know that much about Hal Jordan. I don't either. He's kind of like generic Green Lantern, the main one. I was thinking Chris Pine, but I mean he's already in the DC. But also they're resetting it all. So
but it's a reset.
It's a reset.
They can do whatever they want.
Imagine
I can definitely see Chris Pine as one.
Elba, Lantern Cop, fucking team. Pelba. I like it a lot.
Well, who are you gonna say for casting?
No, I was gonna say it and then hope that my brain came up with something before I finished the sentence. So I'm actually really happy that you cut me off.
Dink for Lant.
What?
Dink for Lant.
That's a really good point.
Laughs. Thinks about it. What the fuck did you say?
Did you just cook? We're gonna go on to The Authority, which is some new group of superhero thing from the comics. I mean, if James Gunn's doing it, it'll probably be good. He's good at taking those unknown characters and making them into something. We have some, I'll be honest, do not care about. Paradise Lost, a TV show, which is about Themyscira, aka Wonder Woman's home. And it'll be kind of like, he described it as Game of Thrones, but with like Wonder Woman stuff. I mean, look,
I won't lie. Themyscira sounds like the most boring and nothing place I could ever think about.
I think the way that they did it in the Wonder Woman movies, I think actually the way they did the world, it's not bad. Like it's kind of an interesting world. The second one where they have this weird tournament to see who's the best person, but then also like a little 8-year-old's competing, a little bit strange. But I think those movies have soured me so much on everything Wonder Woman, because the second one is so god-awful, and the first one is pretty good, but it's actually, in hindsight, kind of overrated, I'm not gonna lie. But if they redo it, and they do it like in a different, not that same green screeny kind of Themyscira that it turned into in the second film, and do something, and Justice League, do something different, could be good.
Okay.
We then have...
I still have not seen the second Wonder Woman movie.
Don't.
But I don't think I want to, yeah.
We then have the new Batman movie. So they have said that the Batman and Joker are separate things. They're going to keep going. The Batman 2, by the way, was announced for I think October 2025. So that's exciting.
Ooh, that's so far away.
It's a very long way away. We will both be graduated from college by then. Nuts.
Ooh,
gross.
Yeah, and by over like a year of being graduated. God
Yikes.
Damn, that's yoinkers. Wait, is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
We're graduating next year. Bruh, that's crazy.
Bruh. Anyway. God damn, we're getting old.
But the new Batman movie in this world, and it's going to be, and I actually kind of like this because it's different from what they've done. Technically, they kind of did it in the 90s, but it's going to be The Brave and the Bold, which is a story about Batman and his son Damian, a.k.a. Robin, doing a little bit of a team up. So
Is Robin Batman's son?
Well, there are a lot of different Robins, but one of them, is Damian Wayne. And from the very few comics I read, I remember he was like a little bit of a little shithead. I don't know, I didn't like him very much. But I was always more of a...
And I've read a few of his comics, and honestly, I hated his guts.
Bitch, I think, yeah. I was always more of a Tim Drake man myself, if I'm just putting that out there. But anyway.
Tim what?
Tim Drake, he was the other Robin, another Robin. Anyway.
Who's Nightwing?
Dick Grayson. God fucking damn, you actual 5-year-old.
You put way too much emphasis on that.
I went hard.
Who was the other Nightwing? Dick Grayson.
I was about to say I went hard on the dick, but then I realized that was maybe not the right thing to say. But oh well.
Because it would be way too accurate. That moment when you go hard on the dick.
That moment when your name is Penis Grayson. Anyway.
Penis Grayson. Goddamn.
Pretty exciting, I guess. Like, I don't know, who would you get as a new Batman? Probably a younger Batman. Although he has a kid, so he can't be that. And he has like a 10-year-old kid. He can't be that young. So like, he has to be.
Okay, so like we're talking like 35.
Yeah, probably. Let's say 30. He could have it. Who would you get as Batman for this? I'm gonna say hashtag Dink for Bat. I don't know.
Let's think. Do we know many good 30 to 35-year-old actors?
Armie Hammer. No, I'm kidding.
No.
He released a statement for the first time since all the cannibal stuff.
Oh, what's he said?
It's not funny. None of it's funny. But just the fact that you have to open an Armie Hammer story with, he's released his first statement since all that cannibal stuff. Just Horrible start.
Is he a cannibal? What's his
No, I
statement?
mean, well, he didn't. From what I read, he didn't address that part. He just said like, I was an asshole and I was like not a nice guy, but I didn't do anything illegal, which I guess is what you'd expect him to say. Regardless, I can't think of anyone good, but I'm excited for that.
I'm gonna say Ryan Gosling.
Ooh, I'm gonna
he's
say
like 45.
Chris Pratt as Batman and Timothy Chalamet as Robin.
I don't. Why? What is with this Timothy train?
I'm kidding. I don't want Timothy. Anyway, we're gonna move on. Then there is, and this I'm actually quite excited for, and I know you will immediately go, "What the fuck does that mean?" But I think once I explain the premise, you'll enjoy. There's gonna be a Booster Gold television show.
What is that?
So Booster Gold, kind of a bit of a nutty premise for a character. He's like way in the future, and he's a huge loser. Like, no one likes him, and he sucks. So he decides to time travel back to present day with like future tech, so he can be a superhero in our time, and then everyone will love him.
Okay.
Okay. Kind of a fun character. Just this like, I mean, you grow to like, he has a humanity to him, and you grow to like him, but he's also just this like smarmy douchebag kind of type vibe. And
okay,
I saw somewhere, I think his name is Glenn Powell, who was smarmy McDouchebag from Top Gun Maverick, was saying like I would be open to play him, and he is the perfect choice for that character. He would just fit it so well. So if they do that, I'll be 100% on board.
Very nice.
But yeah, then there's going to be
a
Supergirl movie, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Sure, it's based on some.
Why did you say that like you've never said the word woman before?
What is that?
Woman of Tomorrow.
How about
the boys of today?
I mean, that could be cool. I haven't read the comic Woman of Tomorrow that it's based on, but sure. And then a Swamp Thing horror movie. I didn't know your mother was in the business of making horror movies. Sorry. Yeah, they're making a Swamp Thing.
I could see the intent in your eyes before you even said the Swamp Thing. You're like, I'm gonna
get him so fucking good here. Yeah, I don't really know much about Swamp Thing, but I have met her. She's a lovely woman.
Autobiography.
But maybe it will be directed possibly by James Mangold from Logan and the new Indiana Jones, so that could be pretty good, I guess.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that's all he mentioned. Of course, there's probably going to be more stuff that he hasn't talked about here, but overall, my thoughts, there's some stuff here that I'm quite excited for, some stuff that I don't really care about. My thoughts overall, I'm really liking that they did this because, as a person with like minor OCD who likes stuff to be in a certain order in a certain way, the fact that it's been such a fucking mess and now they're like resetting it and they're like, we're going to start fresh, do it new. Because they've like half reset it like 50 fucking times. Like it's like it shifts in tone, shifts in style, like, but it's still the same universe. The fact that they're finally going like new thing, new continuity, whatever, let's do it. I'm excited about. And I think James Gunn and the other guy are probably pretty good to head it up. And this sounds like promising stuff overall. That's my take. What do you think?
I think it'll be a good, good kind of new beginning for the whole thing. But it is also just a bit sad that some of the good things about the DC EU will also be kind of left behind. Any word on Momoa and as Aquaman and stuff like that?
No.
He was gonna play Kraven, right?
Lobo.
Lobo.
And that movie is still happening, and it's in the reset universe, so I guess he's sticking around. Maybe.
Interesting.
I don't know. They kind of, I think they want to keep him, though, in some capacity, it seems. And I think they should, because he's very good for
he's great.
Comic book films especially, but shame about Cavill as well, but, he's going on to do other stuff, a Warhammer movie, whatever that means.
Warhammer
people are excited about
series
that
or whatever.
I don't know what Warhammer is really, but go off.
Some video game.
Go off, King.
I've not played it.
Go off. He likes his video games. He's a relatable, cool dude. He's not our new. I was gonna say Pedro Pascal is kind of our new Cavill, where we used to send each other a lot of Cavill edits of him being so cute and hilarious in interviews, and now we do exchange Pedro Pascal videos because he is
thirst traps.
He is pretty charming.
Come on, mama.
Yeah, that's a really good Pascal.
Thank you.
Well, anyway, good stuff overall. I think DC. It remains to be seen, but
very good stuff.
Like the Weekly Planet guys kind of said, if this is done well, it could be bigger than Marvel because, you know, these characters are so iconic and are so good. Like, there's a reason they're so famous, because they're actually, like, interesting stories and characters. And even in the present day, Marvel do be kind of slacking a little. So...
They do be getting a bit complacent here.
You never know what could happen in this fictional war that nerds care about, like us.
Yeah, like, including us, the nerds.
We're going to move on now. It's time for...
The Cnews. Tom Cruise to play young Superman?
Well, hated Tom Cruise due to his association with Scientology. Let's steer away from that one a little bit. Not really as funny. Let's see. Well, this one from evoke.ie. Hey, Irish news. Let's go.
Oh, you love the Irish.
Tom Cruise's gas red carpet request at Dublin premiere resurfaces. Tom Cruise gas request.
What is this? Is he like requesting flatulent?
The time Tom Cruise, it's from a tweet from Primary Cinema. The time Tom Cruise made a fella follow him around with a space heater at the Dublin premiere of Oblivion.
Oh, I saw this.
Oh my god, this guy looks so dead inside. Wow.
So what, was Cruise cold or something, and he just got this guy to follow him around with a space heater?
Let's see. Paul Trainer PT on Twitter tries to explain. I arrived for the premiere just after Tom Cruise that night. It was sunny and warm on O'Connell Street, so that red carpet feature was a surprise. In fairness to him, he was there for almost 2 hours talking to fans and media before the screening. Should have brought a jacket. That is kind of hilarious. I mean, big baller move.
Big, kind of very alpha. You're gonna follow me around the whole night, keeping me warm with a space heater.
I was like, yeah, space heater. Such an extreme, like, you couldn't have maybe, like, I don't know, a little, like a subtle little heater or something. Just follow me around with, like, a zoo enclosure space heater. It looks like the one, you know, in Madagascar where, like, Alex claps his hands. It looks like he's just dragging that around. I feel like he follows him literally everywhere, just especially the toilet.
Is this okay, Mr. Cruise?
Higher.
Now cook. You're a cook.
Cook. I mean, to be fair, if I had, you know, that kind of money, I guess I would pay someone to just follow me around with a space heater. It'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
Be kind of, again, as we just said, kind of alpha.
We're now going to move on to the announcements and such. I'm actually quite curious. Let's see some comments from last week, where we put out some controversial takes hitting on both the superhero stuff and the Kino. Shit. What the fuck?
What?
734 views.
What?
How's this happened? Well, what? Hey, yo. That's
what in the world?
Hold up. What?
Hold up. Mildly successful?
I mean, again, 700 views, nothing to be proud of. But for a podcast that usually does 100 to 300, where the fuck did 700 on a pretty, I mean, I don't want to say a subpar episode, pretty
pretty
unremarkable episode.
Like, nothing too special, I want to say.
All right, let's do it. Let's dive in. I'm curious. Al Feld says 2 things. 1, please don't block me. 2, I've noticed that on the official pod playlist on YouTube, you're actually missing episode 46, where you talk about upcoming DC movies. Okay, that's a good point.
Fuck you, Al Feld.
Blocked. Thank you for letting me know. I will fix that. Josie says #play the full anime intro. God damn it.
Yeah, so I have a bone to pick with you.
I thought it was pretty good.
Because I
enjoyed it.
I watched about half of this episode. Get to bruh.
Fine, maybe someday we'll play the full thing. Who knows?
God. At least give me like a Bing shilling or something.
Bing shilling. Josie also says, I'm with BHL in the Shazam trailer. I personally love the first Shazam, and maybe it was because I was in a shitty mood, but it didn't excite me much at all. Also, it seems pointless to watch considering they're redoing the whole thing. I'm absolutely excited for Ant-Man and Guardians, though, so I'm not completely off the superhero train. Also, it's not a Ghostbusters opinion, lol. Okay, let's go. So, let's go.
We're good. only taking dubs here today.
Movie Boy says, hashtag play the full anime intro. You're blocked.
Yes. Listen to them.
ZJ says, I completely agree with you, BHL, on the Shazam trailer. After watching it, I'm not interested in seeing it. I'm kind of getting tired of these generic superhero movies. Let's go. The people are behind us.
God. A movement.
And he also says, what makes The Last of Us scarier in real life? We are dealing with fungi spreading for the same reason the scientists said it would spread. The earth heating up, make it so the fungi can live in humans. Very good point. Yeah, we forgot to mention that. I thought that was really cool that they were like, well, that can't happen with humans. And like, well, if global warming happened, and then look at us now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, very true.
Look what happened.
NMS says, a big idea in Babylon is how much an occupation can take away from a person's identity, like in Whiplash. So Jack Conrad's character made sense given that he was constantly looking for a greater purpose in his work, and I felt that scenes like the snake fight displayed how degenerate his industry was. But yeah, it was pretty predictable with his final scene, especially combined with the end of an era style music. Still a really well done moment, and the scene was shot well too. And I agree with the fact that the tonal shifts were jarring. It felt very intentional though. Scorsese does it often, especially in Goodfellas. Interesting take. Disagreed with...
He may do it often. But that doesn't make them good.
He may do it often, but also you're wrong.
He may do it often. Just seems like he's not really learning from his mistakes, honestly.
No, that is interesting, and I think it played into like the chaotic nature of the film. And yeah, I mean, you know, we disagreed slightly on the Jack Conrad suicide scene, but I think he makes some good points here. Daniel says, another really great and enjoyable, keep up the truly Pascal-esque work. God, that's a big compliment.
Huge compliment.
Thank you, Daniel. And the fact
Thank Daniel.
that Freddy doesn't really care for Invincible concerns me. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. It's one of the few animated pieces of media to make me tear up. So rare FTKL. I agree.
God damn it. I hate whenever we have it that slightly differs from the norm. It's an...
But look, they say it's a rare L, so it's a good thing, right? If this was a common FTKL...
It's still an L.
That's true.
They just say I'm super mainstream apart from now, and that's an L.
PS, hashtag play the full anime intro. God damn it.
Yes.
Another PS, I do agree with BHL about Shazam 2. Looks kind of mid. So not another Ghostbusters situation, thank God. RIP BHL headphones, ... Freddy Baggins. And Josie says, I've started a trend with that hashtag. So I feel like we're getting a lot of good stuff here on the Shazam stuff. I'm surprised. I was ready to go into battle here. Anson says, I'd highly recommend getting into Gravity Falls at some point. Easily my favorite show ever. I doubt you'll like it to the degree I do, but I think most anyone could enjoy it. Absolutely, yeah. We got to get on that train. Cal W says, Babylon is absolutely a vibes over plot movie, and I love it for that. I mentioned that a little bit in my video, and that is the kind of vibe, which I honestly kind of like vibe over plot movies sometimes, but yeah, wasn't really for me, that one. And finally, GC Green says, I'm willing to bet the only reason people are so in love with the Babylon ending is because of the power the music choice has. When I first watched it, I also thought it was pretty spectacular, but really it's just because the score hits every emotional beat. Watching the scene with no sound proves how lackluster it is. Great pod as always. Thank you, GC Green. And yeah, I think that's a good point. I think the music is phenomenal in that scene. And conceptually, it's kind of just okay. And you thought it was dumb and bad. But the music does definitely...
I thought it was pretentious as fuck.
make it. But damn, that was a not bad reception there. I'll take that.
Very good. Yeah.
Let's just...
You were worried we were going to take some L's here. I was the only one who took one.
Let's see. Ooh. Just on the fan page. Have you seen this? A rare BHL Hudson L on both sides. Middle is a fat BHW, though. And it's a Venn diagram where dumb superhero bullshit on one side with Shazam, pretentious Oscar bait garbage on one side with Babylon, and in the middle is Ted. Very good.
Very good.
Excellent stuff here. Well played. Before we go, I have one more announcement and such, unrelated to all of this. Just a thing that I wanted to talk about real quick.
Please.
I did, in fact, get my hands on Prime Hydration. I just thought I should give a quick review because it's such a big phenomenon.
You did send me. I was going to ask, how was it?
Not my kind of thing at all. It was... I'll be honest. Really sweet.
Was it the blue one you had? Is that blueberry?
Yeah, blue raspberry, which is a flavor I really enjoy in other things.
Blue raspberry.
I mean, I've never liked Gatorade.
What is blue raspberry? Why is it?
It's like a sweet thing. You never had blue raspberry ice cream?
No, raspberry is not blue. I want to say.
Big brain FTK moment. Wait a minute. Raspberry is red. malfunctions. Can't compute. But it's to be fair, I'm not the target demographic for this, I don't think, because I've never liked Gatorade. I've never liked these kind of things. But I tried it, and it's just extremely sweet. It tastes like, like gummy bears, basically. It tastes like liquefied gummy bears, which, like, I don't know.
Oh. But I thought people were killing their own children to get hands on these. How did you just find
That's
one?
why I got it, because I was like, by the way, I'm pretty sure they're not even sold in Ireland yet, so I don't know how this place got it, but I was having, lunch with some friends, and as I was walking back, just this, I think it was a vape shop or something, just had, a bunch of them piled up, and I was like, fuck it, I'll get that. Fucking expensive, by the way, because it was being resold. I don't want to say how much it cost, because it's embarrassing how much money I spent on it. But I was like, I just want to try it. I just want to see what the hype is about.
Come on, let's hear it.
€15.
15 euro.
Yep. Yeah. No, I did that.
You spent 15 euros on a Prime drink.
I spent essentially the equivalent of I'd say my go-to Deliveroo meal is a full Nando's thing with 5 wings and some halloumi and some peri-salted fries. That costs, I think, 17 to get delivered as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would be debating whether or not I get a full takeaway for 15. Yeah. And you go.
No, it was
damn.
It was a questionable choice. So I can never talk about my YouTube money anymore being not high enough if I'm getting 15. I just have to be homeless now. It's that's my fault for getting 15 euro Prime bottle. But yeah, I did it. I'm not proud, and it wasn't even good. But now I can say I had it.
I respect it. I mean, the fact that you did it.
I did it for the culture.
I probably would have done the same, honestly. Let the intrusive thought win. But.
Right? I was I walked past. I looked at it, and I kind of kept walking. And I was like, I should do it. Just let's see what it is. But anyway, not a fan.
It's happening. Who am I kidding?
I'm not saying it's bad. I didn't really like it. It wasn't terrible, but I'm more of a Vit Hit guy. It's a thing they sell in Ireland. It's like a vitamin drink. Very delicious.
Ooh, I'm more of a Lucasade kind of man.
I think Vit Hit's better. Anyway, we're gonna. That's the end of the show. Actually, on that moment of disagreement and possible friendship ending. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a comment down below what you think of what we talked about, what you thought of the pod, all that good stuff. That is if you're on YouTube, where if you're not, you should also go to YouTube and do all that stuff. But if you also want to find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, we are there, the Poorly Planned Podcast. Please leave a 5-star rating, a nice review. Tell your friends about the pod. They'll love it more than I love...
The Prime Energy drink.
Than I love Prime Energy, which is not a lot. So that's a glowing recommendation.
So they'll have a decent time.
I guess they will tolerate it. They'll finish the bottle because they spent €15 on it. You can find me on YouTube, BHL Hudson, Instagram, Twitter, BHL_Hudson. You can email the pod at bhlhudsonvids@gmail.com. I'm also on TikTok at BHL Hudson and Letterboxd at RealBHL All the links are down below, as are the fan pages.
I can just imagine you drinking the bottle. And then just be like, God, that was terrible, but I gotta do this. I just glucking it down. You can find me on Twitter at FTK_DaltSniper. You can find me on Instagram at Fidalgard. You can find me on Letterboxd at FTK_Thwilms. And you can find me on YouTube at FTK Space Gaming.
Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Dick Grayson.
Great.